There are some links there on the bottom right. If you want to just check out my Facebook page, there's always new articles on the topic of glutathione there and new research. Um, there's my YouTube channel where you could find interesting videos on glutathione and immunocal and other things. But let's just get into tonight's product knowledge session. And today, as Dylan mentioned, we're going to take a close look at our product, Probio3 Plus. Now, even looking at the name, it's clear that there's a lot going on here. If you think this is much more than just another probiotic, well, you're right. So ProBio, that's the easy one. It stands for probiotic, which we will explain in the upcoming segment. But it's important to note that there are actually seven, yes, count them, seven separate probiotics in this formula. This really sets us above the crowd. And the 3 plus, well, at the very least, this product is number one, a probiotic. Number two, a prebiotic. Don't worry, I'll explain what that is as well in a moment. And number three, an antioxidant in the form of cranberry, especially tailored for immune function. So you are going to discover over the next few minutes that this product is not just for intestinal health. It's profoundly more. Immune health, brain health, and a whole spectrum of other applications that research is only now discovering. So hear this. Humans could not survive were it not for the bacteria living in our body. In order to take care of ourselves, we need to take care of our best friends, that being the bacteria. So these are some bacteria. Any idea how many bacteria live on you or in you? There are more bacteria living in your gut than there are people on the planet Earth. This is a very, very large number. I'm not even sure how to call that number. I think it's 100 trillion bacteria live in your intestine. Now, fortunately, most of these bacteria are what we call good bacteria. Now, these bacteria help us digest food. These bacteria help us with our immune system. These bacteria protect us from infectious disease. And believe it or not, they're actually helping your brain as well. In fact, we could not live without these critters living in our guts. Unfortunately, there are also bad bacteria in our intestines. And these compete directly with the good bacteria. Not only can they mess up our digestion, causing cramps and diarrhea and constipation and a whole other list of problems, there's a long list of illnesses that we can now associate with bad gut bacterial overgrowth. So let's look at this ongoing war between good bacteria and bad bacteria. Normally, about 85% of the bacteria living inside of us are helpful or good bacteria, and about 15% that are pathogenic or potentially bad. But there's so many things that can throw this balance off, like stress, all kinds of other health challenges, infections like the stomach flu, the use of antibiotics. Anybody out there ever get diarrhea after taking antibiotics? That's because they're killing off the good bacteria. And all sorts of other drugs and toxins can affect this balance. And especially not having great food and good nutrition. So here we see this balance between good and bad bacteria. And if we want to restore a good balance, we can do that by taking probiotics. This is not a complicated concept. So let's get into a little more depth here. Most people know what a probiotic is. It's feeding yourself the live, good bacteria. But let's look at something slightly different. Let's see what a prebiotic is. A prebiotic simply is nutrition or food for the good bacteria to thrive. It's what they need to support themselves and their own health. Finally, I promise only one more new word. What's a synbiotic? A synbiotic is a combination of a probiotic and a prebiotic. So a synbiotic is a prebiotic and a probiotic together, which is much more effective. If you take both together, ultimately you'll get a better result. Just like if you were seeding your lawn with grass seeds, the probiotic, adding fertilizer, the prebiotic, will make the whole thing more successful. Now, why is this all important? Here you see what shows up on most lists as what probiotics can do for your health. Acts as a cleanser for many toxic wastes, helps you absorb nutrients, keeps you regular, helps you if you're lactose intolerant. It actually supplies the bacteria that digest lactose, and it even has an effect on knocking back bacterial growth in your urinary tract. So these are the classic benefits. But this does so much more. You need to look at the research on PubMed, what it has to say. This is the most complete data bank for most major medical and scientific journals in the world. There's hardly a day where I don't go onto PubMed to do some research. So you scientists and research, I'm sure you feel the same way about PubMed. So when you enter the keyword probiotics into the search bar, well, you'll find about 20,000 articles written on this subject, probably more by now. Try entering probiotic and digestion. Well, you'll get over 400 papers. Try probiotics and constipation, about 375. Diarrhea, a whole flood on probiotics and diarrhea. Now it gets a little bit more interesting. If you add the word immune as an immune system, you get a whopping 3,500 articles published on probiotics and the immune system. Even urinary problems scores almost 400 articles. Well, it gets better. Dentistry, would you think that probiotics are written up in relation to dentistry? Well, yeah. There's another 400 articles. The brain, now come on, here's the scoop. The bacteria in your gut produce neurotransmitters. Yes, when you say you are what you ate becomes even more profound. You think what you eat as well. Your mood can be what you eat. Over 1,000 papers. I went to a conference recently where half the day people were presenting papers on the use of probiotics in depression. In depression. Here are over 55 articles that show probiotics can make you smarter. Yes, probiotics and cognition. This all has to do with what we call the gut-brain axis. We are finding out that you cannot separate gut function from brain function. Yes, that's the truth. So hang on to your seats, everybody. Even in a year from now, there will be hundreds of more findings on how probiotics are essential for so much of our health. So here are the 7 strains that are inside of Immunotec's Probio3 Plus. And you can read them there. But let's look at these individually. Bifidobacterium lactis, there's studies that look at the diarrhea that you get from antibiotics and even other diarrheas, as well as its ability to improve immune function. It's even been looked at as useful in acute respiratory infections and lung infections. Bifidobacterium longum. This is great if you have a gluten problem or celiac disease. It's also good for liver health, for fatty liver, and of course, immune support. Lactobacillus acidophilus. This is a very highly researched probiotic. This is used in lactose intolerance. It improves mineral absorption, and it even will help with vaginal infections and vaginal health. Lactobacillus casei, again, it even extends to a preventive role in certain colon cancers. Lactobacillus helveticus has been looked at blood pressure and anxiety, depression, even as a sleep aid. Lactobacillus plantarum has been looked at lowering cholesterol. It's useful in inflammatory bowel disease. It helps with iron absorption. And we can go through all of these individual probiotics that we have in our product, and each one of them plays very definite roles in many, many different problems. So we have 7 separate strains, and which affect things from A to Z. So now I hope you can appreciate that not only is Probio3 a remarkable product, it is so much more than just a probiotic. It's a synbiotic, which represents a combination of probiotics and prebiotics. It has 7 strains of good bacteria. Many products out there only contain 1 or 2. And please remember that each of these strains acts a bit differently and has its own spectrum of benefits. And finally, it contains cranberry. Very, very cool. And of course, we need to add the expected benefit of intestinal health. Your gut bacteria are an essential part of your immune system, critical to your life, play a huge role in the production and action of neurotransmitters, which have a direct effect on your brain, on your mood. We could talk about oral health. We could talk about urinary health. We could talk about vaginal health. Make this product a part of your everyday routine and stay healthy and stay safe.